A bill signed into law this week makes Louisiana the only state to require that the Ten Commandments be displayed in every classroom in public schools and in colleges. To break down what the bill actually does and what it really means, I do want to bring in an expert here. Grant Shostak is a visiting assistant professor in the Department of Law, Crime, and Social Justice at Webster University, joining us now to discuss. Thank you so much, as always, for taking the time to be here with us today.
Hey, Josh, happy to be here.
All right, so first off, can you explain what this bill actually does and also what it doesn't do?
Right, so the bill simply requires that the Ten Commandments be displayed in public school classrooms from all the way from grade school all the way to the university level. Doesn't really require anything more other than that they be displayed.
And Louisiana is the only state to require this. Is it likely that other states maybe see this and realize, I'm going to do the same?
Right. I'm confident that other states are watching to see how this develops, simply because they can use that to model similar statutes in their states. Right. So confident that other states are watching this.
One thing that's interesting is one of the state's previous Teacher of the Year winners has said that he is not going to post the Ten Commandments in his classroom. He's been very outspoken about this over the past several days. What are the possible, let's say, ramifications for him? Could he be fired, fined, jailed? Is that even clear at this point?
So, no, it's really not clear at this point, because when you read the statute, it only discusses displaying the Ten Commandments. It doesn't discuss ramifications if they're not displayed or if the law is not followed. So that really remains to be played out as this statute rolls out. What's interesting, though, is it's possible that a person who doesn't comply with this statute may have their own claim of religious protection as well. So I'm very interested to see how this develops.
I imagine this is going to face some legal challenges. Are there legal precedents that exist?
Right. So our Supreme Court has at least 2 times struck down similar actions previously. So the most similar case is a case, Stone versus Graham, decided in 1980. And that dealt with a Kentucky statute that required the Ten Commandments to be displayed in public school classrooms. And the court in that case struck the statute down, saying it violated the First Amendment and was therefore unconstitutional.
And given that the Supreme Court did strike down a very similar law, why are we talking about this law now?
Right. So what is very interesting about this, the Stone case, in determining the Kentucky statute was unconstitutional, relied upon a test called the Lemon test. And that comes from a case, Lemon versus Kurtzman. And recently, our Supreme Court in 2022 abandoned that test. And they abandoned that test in a case called Kennedy versus Bremerton School District. And that case upheld the right of a public high school football coach to pray with students and others after football games. And so the Supreme Court in Kennedy versus Bremerton abandoned this Lemon test and instead indicated we are now supposed to look at the historical practices and understandings of the founding fathers in examining these kinds of statutes and laws.
And we are taking a live look at the Supreme Court building right now. Is it likely this case has the makings of going all the way back up the court system to the Supreme Court once again?
Right. So I do think this is one of those cases that has a very good chance of making it to the Supreme Court, particularly because the court would be looking at this under new standard. Right, because it has abandoned that Lemon versus Kurtzman test, and it will have an opportunity to examine this statute under a new test.
And my last question here, from a legal perspective, what happens next with this new law?
So I would expect there are a number of groups that have indicated they will pose legal challenges. So they will file lawsuits challenging this statute. They will be handled in the trial court, then onto the appellate courts, and possibly onto our United States Supreme Court.
All right, Grant Shostak, thank you so much for taking the time to join us as always and help break down a law like this one. Is there anything else that you want to add before I let you go?
Well, I appreciate being here, Josh. So yes, this case is one certainly we're watching, but as you know, the Supreme Court has a number of very important cases. I think we're all following and waiting to see decisions on those in the very near future.
Oh, for sure. We'll be keeping an eye as we know that the next ones are coming out here in about 23 minutes. Thank you, Grant. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Josh.